Leo ni siku ya clinic ya mfuko. So the clinic is open, and today we are telling you to give to Caesar what belongs to him. We are talking about taxes today. I get to hang out with Andrew Oleshonko. Andrew is a strategic management consultant on youth-led MSMEs and founder and director of Digitech Kenya. Karibu.
Asante sana.
It's good to have you in studio.
Thank you
Kuna titles
so
mingi,
much.
situgawie kamoja.
Not so much, but I thank God. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about this when I was coming in this morning.
Yes.
When we talk about taxes,
Yeah.
for many Kenyans, I believe, if I'm mistaken, maybe you can correct me. For many Kenyans, it's such a negative word.
Yes. Very negative.
It's such a negative. When you think taxes, you're thinking,
Yes.
and you're thinking, can I find a loophole of not paying my taxes? Why is there such a negative aura around this discussion on taxes?
I think the ball for me is with the institution that is KRA, because I think there is much that is needed to be done in terms of education.
Okay.
Because they are feeling that this government, or whichever government has been there before, that taxes are a burden. People in a way and in a big way do not understand why people should give Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
Yes.
And individuals, businesses, they work so hard, even look for professionals who will be able to study the matrix of taxes and find loopholes in ways in which they can be able to evade or not pay tax. So from my point, I think there is much that need to be done, because on one hand, people are asking for development, they need projects to be completed, they are going to maandamano that probably there are projects that government started have not completed. But on the other side, they need to understand that they are the funders of this project that they are asking for. So a lot need to be done in terms of education, so that people really understand why they should pay tax, and of course on the other side of the government, the responsibility that that have been given to them has really not come out so clearly, because you pay tax, promises are made by politicians, and at the end of the day, when they don't fulfill the promises, that is where there is a feeling of theft, because you promised me A, but and asked me to pay for it. I've paid for it, but you have not delivered. Are there institutions to take government accountable? They are there, but how accountable are they taking government into account? And then what are the legal implications in the event that the government does not fulfill the promises they made when they asked you to pay tax? In a way, they are not there, or if they are there, they are not that strong, that the government can actually be able to say, we promised A, asked you to pay for it. In the event you do not get the promises that you gave to you, what can you do? There's nothing you can do. So that's why there is a feeling out there to people that why should I continue giving and I'm not receiving? So a lot need to be done when it comes to education and responsibility to the government.
Yes. As you're speaking, I'm just thinking about services in government offices. It can be one of the most frustrating experience anybody can go through. You know, and I think things like that add to this mindset. Why should I pay taxes? You know, if getting an ID will take me 6 months for what? If getting a passport, if getting a birth certificate, you know, all these things that we look for. Health. So let's backtrack. Let's look at an ideal situation. What is the role of being taxed? Explain to me what that taxing system is all about and what it's supposed to do.
So the taxing system, ideally, one of the source of revenue of any government is taxes. So for them to have any revenue for operational costs, in terms of, because government in a way is like a business, you need money that can help you to operate, are taxes. You also need to do development. You also need to build hospital. You need to build roads. You need to give all this infrastructure to the people.
Yes.
You need to show people that the economy is growing in a way or the other. So it's very, very important that people pay tax. But as I had said, there is a place where the ball is actually losing track, because at the end of the day, if you don't see the return on the investment that you made to the government, you give them the responsibility, because it does not mean like people cannot come together, contribute, and probably maybe do a road. You see, there is that evening, because if, for example, if you look at the income level of Kenyans, you will find that there are others who are low income earners and others are higher income earners. So you need to have a leverage whereby those who have more are contributing, so that they can be able to support those who are earning less, in terms of building infrastructure for them, healthcare. Look at education. Yeah, there are a lot of things that comes in line when people pay tax, and they really need to understand that it's very, very important for you to pay tax. But at the end of the day, if you do not get the return that you had expected, that is where there is a lot of issue here and there. Look at corruption, for example, in this institution. You are having right now, there are cases in court. The legal action has been taken to some of the institutions that have been evading tax. So some of these things that are arising from this actually come back to where you started. Why are people looking into ways on how they can evade tax, rather than into ways in which they can be able to understand the importance of tax to them? The economy, for example, right now, there is a feeling like the government is really trying to arm twist people, that the government is asking for too much, and in return there is very, very little. Another thing is about the promises made during campaigns. You know, they overpromise, and then at the end of the day, trying to impress this beautiful girl, that is the Wanjiku. Yes, to try and impress her that I promised this, and I have to deliver this. But at the end of the day, they have to come up with a good matrix that the ripple effect of over-taxation, of course, it's here, because, like, for example, the income tax that is being introduced on the finance bill, yes, that owner of that house will actually transfer that cost to the Wanjiku. So at the end of the day, you find the cost normally ends with the person that is down there. In terms of manufacturing, the cost of running business right now in Kenya is on one end, they are encouraging you to open businesses, but on the other hand, it's very, very tough. Very, very. Those who are in business right now, they will actually tell you that it's almost becoming very hard for them to operate, because they are asking so much, and you might see some people being laid off, because also when it comes to the issue of digitization and so on, you will find there are some people will actually going to lose jobs, because at the end of the day, if the operational cost is so high, then you look into ways whereby you can be able to manage too much with the little people. Yes.
What do you think what do you think needs to happen to be able to change this narrative?
I think, first of all, I would advocate for responsibility when it comes to government, because you cannot always be asking, and in return, very little is coming on. And also, we can look into the office of the Ombudsman. It's there, but it does not have so much power in terms of responsibilities. It has not even been devolved. You're having governors, for example. Look at the wage bills that they have out of this world. You're looking at the operational cost of a county in terms of paying salaries and so on, going up to 70%, and then the 30% people here and there, corruption, kitu kidogo and so on. So in terms of development, very little is reaching to the common mwananchi. From 2010, and probably we can say from 2013 when there was a new government that came in place with the new constitution, very little has been done when it comes to development. But on one hand, more taxes. On the other hand, very little in terms of the outcome. And if you're a business person, you are investing somewhere, and the return on investment is very low. That means that business will actually be able to have a feeling that is not bringing anything to you. The other thing is about education. There is a lot that needs to be done, apart from probably maybe when people are almost like right now we are almost getting to a period of closing the filing of returns. That is the only time you will hear the KRA talking about the issue of filing returns. But this conversation need to be had year in, year out, year in, year out. People need to understand how does taxation work, what are some of the legal frameworks that are there, what are some of the penalties that can be able to accrue. There are people who the last time they filed their returns almost 6-7 years ago, and they are just okay, but there are legal implications that comes with that. There are penalties that are accrued with that. So people know very little, very. Right now, if you walk to a street and ask people some of the questions about taxation, very few people actually understand how the matrix normally work. So even these, it ought to be taught more of also in institutions. People need to understand the importance of filing tax. They also need to understand the importance of holding institutions that are there accountable. Because the government, in a big way, there is a need to hold it accountable, and people need to come out strongly and be able to ask for more, because they are giving more, not always asking for more and getting less. There also need to be legal framework in which, for example, if we contributed like maybe $1 million, just an example, and you promise that out of this we are going to receive probably development of up to 50%. At the end of the year, when you don't get this, you can do nothing. There is nothing you can do. You will even find others asking you, Utadu?
There's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do.
And I think that's one of the most discouraging things. You've talked about filing returns. Let's talk a bit about that, because we're in that season. In the next 2 weeks, tutaanza kusikia system imehang. Kenyans, we are so last minute. But when we talk about filing our returns, who is supposed to do that? Who needs to file tax returns?
So, if you are a resident in Kenya, and resident means you can even be not be permanent a Kenyan national, but you have permanently decided that you will be residing in Kenya. That means you are supposed to file return. So anybody who has KRA PIN, and no matter if you are making any income or not. So people really think that the only person who is supposed to file return is someone mtu akona kazi. But they need to understand that everybody, that's why you find people filing nil return and so on. So everybody who is a permanent resident of Kenya, be it Kenya national or not a Kenya national, they're supposed to file returns. Then those are individuals. Then you go to businesses. So if you have a business, you are supposed to also file return, because you also have employees that you have employed and so on. So you're supposed to file return. And thirdly, you also supposed to file returns on income, on rates, the houses and so on. If you own any houses and so on, you're supposed also to be able to file your returns. So people, this notion of the only people who are supposed to file returns are those that are that are employed
Wale wako na pesa.
should actually go away. And it's actually happened many times. I've gotten people who actually have had this question so much. Someone gotten their, in a way, there was a requirement for them to have a KRA PIN at some point.
Yeah.
So they went, applied, and
Yes.
gotten one. And
Yes.
then after that, whatever they wanted was fulfilled, they wakayeka parking.
Bas.
So they have never filed their returns.
Yes.
And that's why I'm coming back to the issue of education. Education, all the time, all the time. And even as the government look into expanding their tax net, you can just not just expand the tax net, but very little information is out there when it comes to the issue of filing your returns. Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the three categories
in terms of frequency, I know for individuals, we file our returns once a year.
Once a year, yes.
What about for businesses?
So for business, it's different. There are other businesses where you can even, like right now, if you look at the finance bill, they are requiring things like sports betting and so on to file their returns after every 24 hours.
Huh?
Yes, after every
donge la pesa.
So that's why you're finding the KRA is looking into intermarrying their systems with the systems of those who are in sportsbook. Like as it comes in, there is no way you can tell me like a million came in.
Yeah.
But at the right figures were 10 million. So they want to put their systems together. So there are other businesses like NHIF, NSSF. So businesses should actually be able to do that monthly. That is date 5 and date 9. But there are other changes that where they wanted to put it like every 5th of the month. They should be able to do that. And that is where it's very important as a business that you get someone who is a tax expert, especially if you are coming in, because as I speak to young people who are looking into entering into business, it's very, very important, very, very important that you get a tax expert before you even think of starting a business. So they'll advise you on how taxes are done. They'll also advise you on some of the reliefs that you can be able to get, some tax credits, because some of these things affect your loan credits. When you go, for example, to a loan facility or a bank and you're asking for a loan, they ask you for a tax compliance certificate. So if you've not been complying with taxes, that means your credit score is actually shut down. You can be having a very good cash flow and you qualify in all areas that you can be able to fuel this loan in all areas, but when they ask you where is your tax compliance certificate, it's not there. You've been dodging. So if you want to put your business straight, it's always from the word go. Put everything straight, file your returns on time, have the right figures, because even having the right figures when you're computing your taxes, it also helps you to be able to apply some of the tax reliefs, like for example, insurance, some of these tax relief. If there are people in your company who are paying, who are in a pension scheme, for example, if there are people who have a mortgage, these are some of the tax relief. Government sometimes also gives tax credits. If you've been doing your taxes so well, they give you some credit after some time. So if you'll be able to put your books right as a business, especially as a business, it gives you a very good credit score. Sometimes you might start a business goes so well, and you get an investor who is interested to buying your business. If you have not been doing your books well, of course, you will find maybe that investor wanted to invest quite some good money in your business, but you've not been complying with the books. They don't want that burden to be transferred to them. So it's always good from the word go. Make sure that you are doing well with the taxman. Or the Caesar.
This is what Dave in Lower Kabete says. Dave says, frankly, I think the biggest challenge in Kenya isn't that things don't get done. Things are done, but since the advent of multi-party politics, we seem to have eroded our values so fast. Corruption is hurting us. So many things that aren't done at the best of prices. Yes, there's a lot of areas to be worked on to earn faith and goodwill to the citizens, may God bless Kenya, that we would change our ways. What are your thoughts on his comment?
I think it's coming in handy. In terms of responsibility, I will say in a very polite way,
yes,
that we have had very irresponsible institutions. Institutions, I'm talking about this institution that looks at the affairs, the issue of corruption in Kenya. You know, people, you've known, and it's out there that there are people who have gotten away with it all the time, all the time. They are getting away with it. Projects, promises after promises after promises after promises. They are not there. Government is giving money to county governments. And ideally, if you were to audit like county governments today, in an honest opinion, you will find most of them right now have a very big burden, very big debts. Even when a new governor comes in, you'll find they always find that big. But where did the money go? Who takes responsibility? Nobody takes responsibility. Like, you can easily get away with it in our country, easily get away with it. Whereas there are institutions that are being paid to take care of it. So I think that we have really institutions have really failed Kenyans, and that is why, as you started, that they have really lost faith. People have really lost faith in institutions that are there. So I believe there is a lot that need to be done. The less of talking and more of doing. Because actually, if they will do it, you don't have to like be told. You see, you just see you can see with your eyes. Someone took this, they were held accountable and so forth.
Okay. So from what you just said, would you say that this whole taxation issue and increase of revenue should be tackled? Should we invert this conversation so that we are not looking at more ways to tax Kenyans, but we are looking at how do we seal the loopholes and the back door where this money is coming in and a good chunk is going out? You think that approach would make a bigger difference than finding new ways to tax Kenyans?
I believe that that will actually make a very big impact, because even the former president actually went out to the media and said that there are a very like 2 billion per day. 2 billion per day. So if you look at even the tax collected per day, you'll actually see that those margins are almost the same. So even as the government looks into widening the tax net, they also need to, because as they widen the tax net, the loopholes on the tax net, the tax net itself are also widening. You see? But if they can be able to close them, you'll actually be able to realize that we don't really need to tax more people, because on one end you are telling people that people to invest more on businesses. You need to look for more into manufacturing. But look at the cost of running business right now in Kenya. The fuel, my friend, is out of this. It's out of this world. Like, even if you go and tell your employer right now to increase your pay, we will actually tell you like the operational cost is actually giving me sleepless night. So they ought to first close those loopholes so well that even if there need to be added or more taxes need to come from people, they have already closed those loopholes. There are people who are getting away with it each and every day. So more need to be done, especially when it comes to looking into the issue of corruption and so on. And out of this world government spending, you see there are some spending that if you are to compute and maybe make those spending in your personal business, you will not do them. You will not like maybe buy like a certain number of have a certain number of employees working in a certain office. Many a times you've gone to government offices and found the courts waiting
Yes,
for you there.
yes.
That means that person is in that office, but they are really not.
They're not needed.
But at the end of the month,
they get a check.
they get a check. You see? So those loopholes ultimately need to be closed.
Okay. Financial Clinic, we are hanging out with a strategic management consultant on youth-led MSMEs and also founder and director of Digitech Kenya. This is Andrew Oleshonko. If you have any questions for us as we talk about taxation, send them in. My question to you is, have you filed your tax returns? If you haven't, why? What are you waiting for? Interesting question here from Martha Ann on the whole issue of taxation and filing returns. She's asking, is there a reprieve for those who have never filed nil returns but would want to start? Maybe there are lots who would want to file, but they are scared because they will be penalized.
Of course, I think there are big number.
They are big number.
Very big number.
Yes.
A very big number of people who feel like, will I really ever need a place whereby maybe a tax compliance certificate will be needed?
Yeah.
When they do the amount, they're like, I don't think so. Maybe someone is a farmer there in the village. They're like, I will never apply for that government tender and so on. And they feel like, let me. So there was a reprieve that was there because government was trying to waiver. Yeah. In the spirit of encouraging people to start filing returns. But right now, things are tough because the government wants like each and every person. So there are fines that has been put in place, like 5,000. Now it's computed to the number of years that you have not paid returns.
So 5,000 for every year.
So that computation will actually be able to, they will actually be able to advise you. Or sometimes also you can do an email to them. Like I remember I had such a case of 1 year when I was a student. And but it's way back. That's why I've said that things have really changed. Because you may get a waiver or may not get a waiver. So it's normally good that you visit their offices. They will be able to advise you, because you'll get some other people, maybe parent wanted to transfer land to them. Maybe they were that age of maybe 18, they did not know a lot of things. Then probably they are now like maybe going to school. Their KRA pin has been hidden under the mattress by their parents. They are finished. They now need to do their to start open a business. And when they go to, they even think they don't have that pin. So they apply.
They are applying for a pin.
So when they apply, they're told like, my guy,
you have a pin.
You have a pin 7 years ago. So see, for the last 7 years, they have been unaware. So you need to prove to the taxman beyond reasonable doubt that I was not aware that I had a pin. But it might be a hurdle. It might be a hurdle. So you can opt to that option of now paying that charge, or probably you can see if you can be able to get a waiver. But right now, not probably a good period. But that does not mean you really need to visit any KRA office. They will be able to advise you accordingly.
Okay. Okay. I know Wambo is representing many Kenyans. She says, I've not filed my returns because I do not know how to do so for myself. And she's asking what's the procedure. And so if that's the case, I'm wondering how many years she has not filed, because she doesn't know the procedure. So
probably, as I have said, they might be quite some years, probably because first of all, like we started saying, the education in terms of tax compliance is very low. They need to organize those baraza meetings with communities, and through chiefs, they tell people the importance of filing returns, the importance of having that KRA pin and so on. Because if you want, for example, your father to transfer land to you, you must have a KRA pin. So that means in one way or the other, you will need it at some point. So for her, probably I will advise her their tax people or experts who are around their areas, and even you can even walk to a cyber. There are people who have been doing returns for the last like 10 or 20 years. They have a vast of experience when it comes to issue of filing tax and so on. They'll be able to advise her on the best way to do it, probably also assist her on how to file return and so on. So look for a tax expert to give you some advice and also assist you with the filing returns. Plus right now we are in the digital era. You can be able to get all this information on how to file tax, because you will find there are other rogue tax experts. They'll tell you filing returns, sisi tunalipisha 3,000 to 5,000 and it's nil return. So nil return in like 2 minutes. You should be done to file your nil returns in 2 minutes.
Yes.
But in 2 minutes, this guy has milked you. They really can tell you like, enda urudi. Go and come back. Probably ni kazi. Yeah. But at the end of the day, before you actually close that door, that activity had already been done. Yeah.
John Githanga, my friend in Nakuru, says tax returns is still a very strange term to the grassroots folks in Kenya. In my opinion, this is because Kenyans generally are not patriotic. And in order for Kenyans to be patriotic, civil servants must start being persons of integrity. Your thoughts?
Yes, we have really talked on the issue of integrity by the best way possible. There is a very large feeling out there. And I told you that you don't have to tell me that I'm responsible. I just need to see, people need to feel when they go to these offices that I am actually paying your bill. I'm actually paying tax for me to pay you. And then I deserve to get good services.
Yes.
Look at maybe even hospital. You go to a hospital and services are chaotic. Yeah, they're not getting those good services when it comes to these institutions. Go to these government offices and so on. You need to be assisted on a very kitu kidogo tu. But at the end of the day, you finally you have also to pay more or even give something called convenience fee so that we can be served fast and so on. So that feeling out there needs to be worked on.
Okay. Muna is asking, what happens if you don't have a P9 and your employer filed for redundancy?
Wow, so you need to write to your employer because when you bring your case to KRA, they will need to see an evidence that you actually wrote to an employer, probably an email, and your employer did not. You see, there are these employers who are a bit, probably they closed business and they did not even send the P9s to you. So they really need to say that someone is responsible for me not paying tax. Plus also the taxman can be able to share the P9 with you because they are the ones who send the information to the employer. So if you contact them and tell them your case, they can actually be able to generate a P9 for you and you can be able to file your returns.
Okay. This is an interesting one. This one is asking, why do I have 20 shillings carried forward when filing my returns? Does it mean I have to pay it?
Yes, you have. With the taxman, you cannot evade anything. And on the other hand, there are tax refunds.
Yes.
But now you're getting the tax refunds, it's a hard one. But now for them, if you owe them even a penny, you have to pay them. But when they owe you, because there are instances whereby the taxman owe you, because for example, if you are giving money to a mortgage scheme, insurance, especially education, health and so on, if you are donating to a charitable organization, you can be able to get tax relief of up to 25% of the money that you've been able to give to them. And maybe just to mention, these are some of the ways whereby you can be able to increase your reliefs when it comes to taxes as a business. You can choose to make an investment on CSR, community, those activities of supporting the community, corporate social responsibility. Those are some of the ways that you can be able to get a reprieve of the tax that you will be required to pay.
You know, I have a question and a thought all in one.
Yep.
So hear me out and tell me what you think. Because I'm thinking of like a business scenario where you have a lot of stock, which is dead stock, but you still want to sell it at the price that was put on it so that you can gain the profit. So no one is buying it. And I've seen cases where, you know what, I'd rather release this stock and get something out of it, because as long as it's staying here, I'm not getting anything. So yes, I was supposed to sell this shirt at 50 bob. I have 3,000 pieces, but I can't sell it at that. Let's just give it away at 25. So that pesa isikae hapa, stock isikae hapa, we have some liquid cash, then we can move forward and do something else. And I'm thinking along those lines when it comes to taxation, because when I think about individuals, I've never heard of a case of somebody who was sent to prison because they haven't paid their taxes. The blockage comes in when you're looking for that compliance certificate, isn't it? So if I feel like I will never need that compliance certificate, na niko na madeni yuko, shauri yao wacha wakana hizo madeni zao, because I don't think we'll ever meet at a place where we will collide and I will have to account. So wacha ikae. So there's no urgency in this thing. So I'm wondering if the government worked it out this other way, where they say, you know what, we want to encourage everybody to pay taxes, and so let's clean this slate and start again in a way. Let's put a marginal fee for everybody who has not complied, everybody who has what to balance kila kitu. Walipe hii fee, alafu ni kama tunaanza tena. Then now we do a lot of mobilization. You know the way we did mobilization during COVID to cover a mask. We knew about these things back at Mashinani. We do such a campaign and we start again. Do you think that's something workable? I've always thought of that. It may work, and you found some scenario whereby there are some businesses that have been waived their taxes, especially like you mentioned, COVID times. You find there are some levies that were subsidized, others were removed, and so on, to be able to look on an even ground in which the business can be able to operate. Because essentially, I believe if the government can be able to put the business environment in the best way possible, we'll have businesses employing more people, and then when businesses employ more people, that visual cycle whereby there are more people who are employed, more people paying taxes, more taxes there. So if these are mechanisms in which the government need to put in place, that the cost of operating the business is low, people are employing more people are paying tax. So that is actually one of the other way that the government can be able to generate more taxes. The more people are employed, more taxes is being paid, and so forth. When it comes to creating an even ground, there are scenarios whereby government takes that route, though it doesn't happen so much. So whereby the government say, like, you know what, you guys, when we ask you to pay for taxes, the amount of assets that you have, in this case the stock that you were saying, even if you sell all that stock, you'll not be able to pay the taxman the money that they are looking for. So let's look for an even ground. We want you to continue operating the business, to continue running. So let's look into a way whereby we can be able to waiver some of these taxes for you, because closing business means that there is a home that people will sleep hungry, and at the end of the day, the people are asking the government, you're pushing the businesses we work at so much, they are closing down, and on the other hand, you're telling that we'll provide employment for you. That means you're not being fair to us. So in some scenario, government look into these issues, but this is on a special case base, not all the time. They cannot say, like, you know that, let's standardize this thing. But I'm thinking along those lines for individuals. Especially individuals who have not filed returns, they have nil returns. So there are all these penalties that keep piling up. What if they said for individuals, if you've not been filing your taxes, you have nil whatever, or even maybe you have uko na madeni, let's come to the table. Let's look at and say, okay, if you as a nil pay this much, and then we start again.
So ideally, probably this, maybe the government might consider it, but they will also look like, what do we get in return?
But if for
example, but they are getting the fines.
But people are not paying the fines.
Yeah, so you say the government will look into probably like it's like a waiver in a way.
Yes.
So probably after the waiver, you will continue filing nil, and so forth.
Yes.
That means it's a lose-lose for them. You see, because ideally, the government right now is looking into ways in which they can be able to increase their in whatever cost.
Yes.
So when you tell them like, I want to open a business, I'm looking forward to raise this amount of revenue for you. I want to open this business. Blah, blah. I have never filed returns, but I want an even ground. I start. This is the business I've already opened. These are our incomes and so forth. We have employed this number of people. Probably what can you do for us? But in a scenario whereby you want them to waiver for you, and probably next year you'll also do a nil. That the conversation might not really end well.
Okay.
So we look into scenario whereby the government will say, yes, we will waiver this one for you, but next year we can't waiver for you this, and then next year you also do a nil. Yes, but probably maybe they really need to relook on some of these suggestions, because probably they can be able to have a very positive impact, because we'll have people maybe even thinking like, why should I probably even start doing this return? I can even run my business under the carpet. You see, they are losing in a way, because someone feel like all these fines, because people are opening small businesses that have an operational cost of probably 100K per, probably let's say per month, or maybe 3 months. So when they look into the penalties that they should pay, vis-a-vis, they were like, you know what, we are going to sweep this under the nacheza chini ya maji, we will not register a business, but they have returns. Yes.
Andrew, thank you very much for coming. Unfortunately, my time is up. Thank you for this conversation. It's been a good conversation. My friend, enda ukafile returns. Usingoje mpaka tuingie June. Especially tukifika June katikati hapo. System is down. You'll be making long lines. Sasa watu wanawachajiki 3-5 sasa wataongeza. So do them this week. And if you don't know how to do them, reach out for help. There are people who can help you do that. Well, I have to close the clinic. Daktari anaenda kuhudumia wagonjwa wengine huko nje wako na shida. Until next week for another session on the Financial Clinic, do have a great day.
Thank you for watching. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get notified whenever we upload new fresh content every day. Stay tuned and enjoy fresh, uplifting content.